Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hello, everybody, and welcome to I4Valley, the Industry 4.0 opportunities. We will start with a short video that will be presented right now. Bonnie, please. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session. To begin with, I will present Mr. Goni Letzter, who is a director in I4Valley and VP at Wipro Givon, and he will moderate this session that is all about the opportunities, the great opportunities that we see in Industry 4.0 and the wonderful ecosystem that is in the north of Israel, in Carmiel. Goni, please.
Thank you very much, Sivan. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Goni Letzter. I'm one of the founders of I4Valley Incubator, and I'm also Vice President of Business Development with Wipro Givon, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Wipro, a multinational group headquartered in Bangalore, India, with almost 200,000 employees around the world. And before we start our session, I would like each of us to present himself, the participant, the panelist. So Henry, would you present yourself, please? Can't hear you, Henry. Unmute. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Great. So my name is Henry Zimmermann. I'm the chairman and the owner of the Trellidor Group. We employ about 700 employees in our different companies, most of which are situated in the fantastic, lovely city of Carmiel. We manufacture a very wide range of metal products, especially fences, gates, railings, industrial gates, and electronic packaging. And I'm very, very proud to be here, especially because I believe so much in Industry 4. All our companies are really running towards this Industry 4. And we are applying and introducing lots and lots of systems, and I think this is the way to go. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Henry. Zvika.
Hi there. Okay, my name is Rico Vanstruck, and I am the CTO at I4Valley. My background is more than 25 years in the Israeli high-tech, served as Vice President of R&D, Marketing, Strategy, and Innovation. I was a co-founder in a startup that was acquired by Siemens and Nokia. Also worked at the ECI and Huawei. In recent years, I mainly work with the manufacturing industry on digital transformation and Industry 4 adoption.
Thank you, Zvika. Sivan?
Hello, everyone. As I said, I'm Sivan Yechieli, the CEO of I4Valley. Previous to that, I was the mayor of Kfar Vradim. And previous to that, I held various positions in the software and high-tech industries for 20 years, among which I was the VP of software at OTI. I was one of the founders of Toptics and the VP of R&D over there. And before that, I worked for Computer Associates and Sterling Software and other companies. And right now, we are dedicating ourselves to the creation of great startups here in the north of Israel.
Okay, so we got another panelist that is still on his way. I think that we will start with the questions. And then
Eran is here.
No, I can answer you.
Thank you very much, Eran. So you're still on your way. Can you present yourself, please? We can't hear you, Eran. You're on mute.
My name is Eran Mandelbaum. I'm Advanced Manufacturing Director in Keter Plastic. Keter Plastic is a worldwide manufacturer of plastic product. We are manufacturing garden furniture, storage equipment, etc. We have 25 plants around the world, 5 of them in Israel. Our R&D is situated in Israel and also the Innovation Center.
Thank you, Eran. So I suggest that we will start our panel with the first question to you, Henry. So as an experienced industrialist, how mature is the Israeli industry when it comes to adopting Industry 4.0 in your opinion?
Well, I'm speaking from a lot of experience because in the last 4 years, I was chairman of the Israel Manufacturing Organization in the north of Israel. And in this capacity, I visited hundreds of different factories. And unfortunately, I think that we are very, very far away from Industry 4. Most companies, unfortunately, aren't even in Industry 3. We have a huge production problem in Israel. Our production levels are and productivity levels are very low. And I think that the only way to really improve it is by improving management systems and combining the management systems with all our computer networks and the machinery around. But I think that we have a very long way to go. And we are basically, most of the companies, there are a few good ones who are nearly there, but most of the companies are very far away.
I see. Thank you very much, Henry. Next question is actually for you, Eran. So from your own experience, do you think Industry 4.0 is only a tactic or it's a long-term strategy for our industry? Eran?
Yes, just a moment.
Okay, I will shift this.
Okay.
And we will go. Yeah. Go ahead. Okay, Zvika. Let's shift.
Okay, go to Zvika and I will join.
Yeah, we will shift to Zvika and go back to you then. So Zvika, innovation strategy for manufacturing companies, should it be push or pull based in your opinion?
Okay, this is interesting question. When I'm looking at innovation strategy in general and specifically in the Industry 4 innovation strategy inside organizations, in this situation, this is a pull strategy starting at the CEO level that pulls up the company. And I will explain. Innovation is a straightforward method. Nevertheless, it's a straightforward method, but the main difficulty is the state of mind that we should change in the company. It's a change management situation. The company actually enters into a gray zone beyond the knowledge threshold of the company. So the company enters into an uncertain zone, and no one in the company has been there. In this situation, the CEO needs to be a leader and to lead the people, and it starts with the VP and mid-managers level that may resist this change for known reasons, as we understand. The production line, actually what we see is that will follow if they see that the management have a real attention and have a decisive approach. When we see a mid-managers employees that willing to push the industry for inside the company, I most of the time encourage them to start with engagement, the CEO and the management, as Industry 4 as a cross-company effect that will be almost impossible to create without the high-level support. Thank you.
Thank you, Zvika. So, Eran, let's go back to you. Now you are located somewhere in the woods.
Yes.
Somewhere in the woods. So, going back to you with our previous question. Industry 4.0, is it only tactics or long-term strategy?
I tell you something about the tactics. If we're looking about the tactics, we're bringing the robot to the shop floor to make this station more efficient, or replace a worker in dangerous or repetitive work. Let's say we just bring the robot. If I'm just a robot or another machine from Industry 4, but if I'm looking for strategic, is to use the R&D of the company to design and manufacture, design for manufacturing. Means that the new product has to be, we have to think how we're going to grip the part, how we're going to put them together, how we can we pack it. I think the best example, the mass production that we have in food and beverages, that we see that everything is automatic. And if I'm looking about Keter, we are usually sent to the customer, it's knockdown product. We have 6 to 8 or 14 parts, plus purchasing part. And if they are not made for automation, a worker will sit along the assembly line and put the part into the package. If we just design it for automation, we can make a production cell, and we make few of them in Keter, that a raw material is entering, plastic enter to production cell, and at the end of the line, you have pallet. On the pallet, you have packed product, let's say, and the only person that working there is supervising the process. This is the way that that I look as strategic approach of Industry 4.
Okay, thank you very much, Eran. Sivan, eventually, you know, in our incubator, we got 6 companies joining hands together. And the question is, why is it so important for manufacturing companies to join hands in launching an entrepreneurship platform for Industry 4.0?
I think that we see a lot of difficulties. You know, Henry mentioned in his early answer that he said that the Industry 4.0, most of the factories, most of the manufacturers in Israel are not yet there. They're far away from it, actually. And Eran was just talking about the way you need to plan everything ahead in order to make it work. And Zvika was talking about the change management and the difficulties in assembly or the difficulties in introducing new technologies into the production flow. And it all merges together to the same point, where without cooperation, without an ecosystem, without working together, without creating an environment that will support such a change, it's going to be very difficult to make that change. I think that when you look at it, there are many technologies, and the technologies are available. And you ask yourself, how come they're not on the production floor? People know that there are sensors that they can put to monitor their processes. They can monitor their machines. They can do a lot of things that are already there. Some of them are not expensive, yet we find that they're not introduced into the production floor and they're not working. And I think that this is a place where you have great opportunities for startups, because what we see is that the barriers, every small barrier that seems to us like a very small technical issue becomes a large barrier for the introduction of new technologies into the firm. Now, when a group of firms join together, like in the case that you've joined together with different companies to form I4Valley, you have the opportunity to actually go over all these things ahead of time and be able to produce the right things, the right products that will actually be able to make the change on the production floor. I think that's the main reason why you want to create a corporation. I can give you some other ideas, but some other things, that we've seen with one of our startups. I think that, the story. One of our startups came over and he's dealing with food industry. He's got a revolutionary product that will change part of the process in the food industry. And we were very excited about it. But then we spoke to one of our other partners, to Tambur. And while speaking to Tambur, just consulting them about some production processes regarding this startup. And suddenly we found out that the chief scientist over there was starting to ask questions as if she was the client. And then we found out that there is opportunities in that industry as well. So when you cooperate from different industries, you find different markets, you create different point of views on the same product. And this whole revolution where we right now are here, and Henry said regarding data and everything, we are right now here and we want to get much higher. This is a process that will involve a lot of industries talking to each other, a lot of manufacturing companies talking to each other, and a lot of startups listening to the industries and learning how to do the right things in order to introduce new technologies and make a big change.
Thank you, Sivan. Now, Henry, when it comes to the entrepreneurs, why should they work closely together with the manufacturing companies from day one?
Well, I've seen over the years so many great inventors, entrepreneurs who develop products or try to develop products, and they do it on a hunch. They don't really understand if there's a need or not a need and how to incorporate it in the actual industry. By our platform, we enable them to join us. They benefit from a lot of points and things, and I can point out a few. Number one, all our companies are really dedicated to helping the industry succeed, and in that, by doing that, we give the entrepreneur the value of our knowledge. We can sit with him, we tell him what's good, what's not good, how to go about the market research. We can introduce him to our friends in the business. We all have hundreds or thousands of suppliers abroad and in Israel. We know the needs better than some normally a young guy who's come up with a fantastic idea. So we can help him make a business plan. This is very basic. We can help him do market researches, but we can definitely point him in the correct direction. In addition to that, we often find people who haven't got the infrastructure to do it. For instance, if he needs to bend metal, in my case, then if he has to go out to find someone to do it, in our case, it's in-house. We do it at very, very fast and at a ridiculously low cost, if any. And the last thing is that by working together, we give the entrepreneur something very, very valuable, and that actually is that we allow them to use their product that they are developing on our floors as a database, as a better site. And I've come across many instances where people have come and developed fantastic products, but then they get stuck because they can't actually use them and have a proof of concept. By us being involved, we can give them the platform to do this, because you must understand many manufacturers are very hesitant to bring in new products, new methods. It interrupts the daily life. Sometimes it interrupts with regulations that we have, if it's government regulations or even if it's internal regulations. And only by having the management of the companies involved with them from day one and having the interest in it, we will be able to give them a platform where they can try out their new machines in actual factories and have proof of concept. And from there, the way going forward is much easier.
Thank you very much, Henry. Okay, just to let all the participants know, we are taking questions, so there's a live chat, and you can shoot any questions, and we will be happy to answer. Okay.
Okay.
Sivan.
Goni, I'm sorry, the line was off for a second and I couldn't hear the question. Please ask again.
Yeah, so actually, there's one thing that I wanted to bring up, hearing all of you, as you know, there's so many challenges, and we talked about it here in the Israeli manufacturing industry. And the question is really, do we stand a chance in creating an Industry 4.0 ecosystem? And my own opinion is that absolutely yes. I mean, this is the answer. It's true that we don't have a large manufacturing industry like, let's say, Germany or the US, but it's a small country and we got all sorts of technology, and there's entrepreneurship both, you know, in technology and in manufacturing. People like Henry, for instance. And I don't see any reason for us not to develop this kind of ecosystem here and to become one of the world leaders of Industry 4.0. I think the most important thing is most of us are realizing that we need this technology, we need this ecosystem, because this is the only way that we can secure our future as manufacturing companies. It's not enough just to rely on what we achieve, not to mention that many companies are now under multinational, international groups, ownerships like Keter, like our company, like Wipro. And we have to apply and adopt international standards. So I myself think that this is absolutely the right time for us to take the lead and work together very, very closely with entrepreneurs, with the Israeli technology companies in order to take part in this very important scene that we are seeing. I mean, we would like to be part of the startup nation, okay? And this is our time. And I want to remind everyone that 5 years ago, nobody knew what is food tech, for instance. Now, Israel is one of the largest players in food tech these days. And it's not because we have such a huge food tech industry or food industry here. It's just because the industry realized that this is the only way that we can retain our competitive edge. So I myself, and I think most of my friends and colleagues here agree that Israel has a great chance to become a leader in Industry 4.0 and to create a great ecosystem like we created in many other sectors. Now,
Goni, may I interrupt and just add something, please?
Sure, of course, Henry, be my guest.
I would just like to add that because we are all, we believe in this so much, especially I would say that in my company, we agreed to give place to the Advanced Manufacturing Center, which is actually a government-based facility, and they will sit in our factory in Carmiel. And this as well is a fantastic platform, because by combining all of our knowledge, plus the advanced manufacturing facility, which will sit in my factory in Carmiel, plus Ort Browder and the other institutes that we have in Carmiel, it's really a win-win situation. And I take this opportunity to invite every one of the existing companies who want to learn about advanced manufacturing to contact us, and we'll put them in touch with the center who's already working, and it will help them a lot. And of course, the new interpreters.
Yes, thank you, Henry.
Tony, if I may add something, it's okay?
Yes, go ahead.
For these topics of the ecosystem. Actually, there is a very interesting phenomenon that we see right now. We start to see a second wave of mature entrepreneurs that starts to leave the previous Industry 4 startups. Actually, the first wave was started 5 years ago. And we see a lot of companies in Industry 4 in Israel. Now we see them, part of them leaving and initiate new startups. And actually we start to talk with them. They had already their boots on the ground. So they have a lot of experience in actually seeing worldwide manufacturers. And they have experience in creating multi-million dollars companies. We also see some interesting movement that high-tech entrepreneurs from other sectors start to talk about Industry 4 and ask us what are the approaches, what are the new ways, and how they can approach this new industry. This is a great because they bring the deep technology into the industry from other sectors. Now, with the right adoption and adaptation of this technology, we can create new multi-million companies, new companies. What more interesting, what we see is that we see a lot of entrepreneurs that come from the industry itself. And we see right now a movement that high-techs joined to the Industry 4. And this combination of tradition and then the high-tech, I think it's a very, very new way, a very, very interesting way that I believe that will make a lot of waves in the traditional industry and at all, because of this combine of ideas and the peoples that join forces in this ecosystem.
Actually, Zvika, we got a question coming from the crowd. I think that you are, as the CTO of the incubator, would be the right one, the right person to ask you this question. So, Industry 4.0 is a very big word, okay, maybe even a buzzword. Question is, in terms of technology, what do you think? Which kind of technology are going to be the game changers in Industry 4.0 from what you are seeing in the landscape these days?
This is a very good question, and I think, look, it's a very good question. We see a development in the robotics world. We see that robotics actually become, and Eran will probably elaborate much more, is an expert in robotics. But we see it's off-the-shelf products, most of them. Now, what we see in robotics is the swarm robotics, industrial swarm robotics will be the next stage, especially how to manage mobile and the autonomous robots, combining with people and humans that work together. The security and safety is a major issue there, and we'll see much more technologies in this direction. And this is maybe a big game changer in how our facilities and how manufacturers will work between robots and robotics. We see the biggest game changer, we believe, is the connection between the IT and the OT, the data layers. What we see is a lot of single source of, what we see is a lot of single data hubs, a lot of islands of information that located into the manufacturer and the manufacturing and the floor, in the manufacture floor. What we'll see is the combination and connectivity between all of this data that will create one single sort of truth inside the company, inside the manufacturer. And then we'll able to activate machine learning, AI, etc., all those good technology to understand and to provide us much more observation and decisions, assistant for decisions to the management. What we see more is a supply chain change. We'll see, I believe that in 5 to 6 years, we'll see different way to how supply chain is working. Currently, what is very important, and the COVID-19 actually emphasized some of the topics. We see a major interest in how to do cost optimization in the supply chain with a multi-vendor, with a time delivery, real-time understanding of the production scheduling, the combination of real-time from the production line towards the supply chain. This will be the next game changer in this arena. and we'll see probably, and I believe it's very visionary, that we'll see much more connectivity between the planning and the procurement. It will be working some way much more together, because there is a lot of handshake between the supply and the scheduling and the planning, and actually how the manufacturer and the floor is producing the product and the widgets that we need. So this is another game changer in the supply chain. Risk will be much more in interest to the companies. We see much more Chinese companies all over the world, small companies that start to be part of the supply chain. There are a lot of risks that can impact the supply chain. Therefore, what we need is much more understanding who are our suppliers, what are their risks, and what they provide us in order that we will protect our assets. In the production layer, what we'll see is continue to see optimization of the effectiveness, the OEE, what we discussed, the operating effectiveness, the production, the efficiency of the production line, and we see much more understanding or need to understand what is the smart maintenance, prediction that already we've seen in the first phase of Industry 4, the predictive maintenance. But the next phase is how to make a much more better prediction based on the human factor in the factory. Because what we've seen right now, we start to see a lot of data that we see that different operator and different technicians actually create different malfunction of machines. And understanding the human factor together with this predictive and all these capabilities will provide us much more robust machinery and increase the effectiveness of the production.
Thank you.
I'd like to actually add one thing to Zvika, or maybe put it all under one roof, because Zvika now touched a host of technologies that every one of them can produce a revolution. And there's one thing that is common to all of them, and that's data. The real revolution will be when data is understood, when every system today is encapsulated and its data is sort of understood only by its own system. And what we want to do is create a system where the data is shared by different devices, by different processes, by different stages in the production and the value chain. And therefore, data, I think, will be the key change in the coming years.
Thank you for adding that, Sivan. Iran, maybe you can share your own point of view coming from Keter. What is your current key point of interest when it comes to Industry 4.0 in Keter?
I want to tell you, we have two initiatives. One is to have a good dashboard that every plant manager can see what is manufacturing. Just yesterday, I have been to another factory and I went for lunch with the plant manager at lunchtime, not lunchtime with COVID time, but people just shout to each other, how many we manufacture today? How many scrap did we have? In Keter, we don't have something like this because all the data is integrated. The plant manager and his manager and the CEO see clearly, has transparency on all the production. Let's say every minute they can see what's going on in the shop floor. So the first thing, I can just put it in a phrase, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. If you have clear KPI about the cycle time, about the temperature, about the process, about the number that you have to manufacture each day to see the scrap rate, you really can manage it. This is I think the first, my previous, Sivan talk about data. This is the data that we have to get from the machine. Other thing that's really interesting for Keter, and we did it, I mentioned it before, is the robotics. Because we were able to use robotics to replace people, usually in repetitive work like packaging, like applying labels, or just lifting heavy loads that you have to load the packages. Usually our problem let's say, is from 8 to 30 kilo, because it's still something that human can lift, and it's not easy and it's not good to do it. So in Keter, we try to make that every package, as I say, from 8 or 10 kilo will be lifted by a robot. Again, it depends on the line. The moment that we can make automatic line, everything will be automatic. It can be a cell from 2 to 7 robots that perform all the works in order to have automatic cell and to get the right product in the right quality at the end.
Thank you, Eran. I think that we have not yet spoken about who we are, about the I4Valley incubator. So I would like to share with you a little bit about who we are and what we are doing. So we got Henry and Eran, both of them are coming from well-established companies. Henry is the CEO of Trelidor, and Eran is coming from Keter Group. And actually, I4Valley is a partnership between them, I would say, 6 Israeli super brands. So we got Keter, we got Trelidor. I think each and every one of us is familiar with Tambur. We grew up on this brand. Tambur, which manufactures paint and advanced construction materials. We got Klil, again, an Israeli super brand in the aluminum windows and doors. And Flying Cargo, logistic and supply chain, which is actually a significant part of Industry 4.0. And last, the company that I'm representing, the global Rico Group. So we got 6 partners joining up together in this great initiative, which is actually currently the only investment vessel here in Israel, which is 100% dedicated to seed and early seed investment in Industry 4.0, which means that this is all what we do. We don't have any other segments, no other technology, and we are fully dedicated for Industry 4.0. And we are not in it only for the money, which means that it's not only an investment for us to eventually somehow exit and make some kind of profit out of it, because a lot of us are looking at it as an open innovation platform. As we mentioned at the beginning, I think Sivan mentioned it, it's challenging for a manufacturing company to develop its own innovation. And by joining forces together with the Israeli government sponsoring this whole initiative, it gives us the opportunity really to establish an open innovation platform, which is very, very special here in Israel. And our intention is to lead this ecosystem together with the entrepreneurs, with other institutes and other academy and universities, and to create this ecosystem that we've been talking about. And this really takes me to you, Sivan. What makes Carmiel, the city of Carmiel, which is located in the north region of Israel, in the Galilee, what makes it the capital of I4 here in Israel, in your opinion?
You know, Carmiel, well, I'll start with saying Carmiel is at the center of Israel manufacturing hub or manufacturing area. A lot of industries, we've mentioned our 6 partners, but there are other companies around here, well-known companies. You can take Iskarad, Movargos, Plasan Sasa. There's a long list. I would never be able to name them, of very good companies, very good manufacturing companies that are here. But together with this, and this is something that we've been working for many, many years, together with these great companies, great industrial companies, we have Ort Brauda, and that's an academic, that's a college that trains engineers, and we have the Technion, and we have the academia that actually comes with us, joins hands together with us. We have an accelerator that runs within Carmiel, the Galil Accelerator, that is dedicated to Industry 4.0. We have the Advanced Manufacturing Institute that is actually going to sit, Henry mentioned it before, is going to sit inside the offices, inside the premises of Trelidor. And they're going to, and they're also another initiative that is meant to bring current running industry, manufacturing industries to to introduce the post-industrial generation to them. All together creates really a huge ecosystem of players that are all dedicated in order to make this area succeed. Now, the government is with us in that sense, because just like in the past, they did the same, or they wanted to do the same idea in Beersheba, and not in the cyber, of course, not in Industry 4.0. And now they're doing this in Carmiel. But unlike other regions, Carmiel really has the assets within it. So we have the factories, we have the know-how, we have the domain expertise in many different areas. We have the academia, we have the entrepreneurs, we have the accelerator, we have the government with us. So I think that we are creating right now an ecosystem that is second to none. And this is going to lead the revolution within Israel and around the world.
Thank you, Sivan. Really, Carmiel is an exciting location for.
Bonnie, I didn't say, I didn't, within the whole thing, I didn't say something about I4Valley. So I'd like to say that as well. I4Valley is, we are risk takers. We are interested in entrepreneurs that want to bring big dreams and try and realize them. And we are here to help them do that. And we really have that wonderful ecosystem and friends that help us. So I think that we are inviting entrepreneurs. You have an idea within the field of industry, come and talk to us. You have an idea within the field of logistics, come and talk to us. You have an idea within the field of quality control, within the data, cyber protection for manufacturing facilities. Everything that has to do with the manufacturing industry, come and talk to us. We may have a very interesting offer for you.
Yes, this is certainly an interesting opportunity for Israeli entrepreneurs, and we invite entrepreneurs and other manufacturing companies here from Israel or from other locations in the world to join hands together with us in this great voyage that we're currently involved in. I think that we are getting close to adjourn, and I would like to ask each of you for some closing remarks. So, Henry, we might start with you, some closing remarks to this panel today.
I'd like to summarize, just to close with what Sivan and you said. There's great opportunities. Our minds and hearts are open. Come to us with new ideas, and we'd love to hear them and find a way to work together. And if anyone wants to come and learn about manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, they feel free to contact us. We'll give them tours in the factories and whatever is needed in order to help.
Thank you, Henry. Eran.
Yes, I can join Henry in welcome any teams that want to come to visit me at Keter, to see robotics, to see if we can make any joint pilot together. I just want to say that in Keter, innovation, I think it's from day one, since Sami Segol established the company before 72 years, because people are there to dream and not afraid to fail. Because I think that Keter, once we are, I think now, one of the biggest manufacturer for plastic products in the world, and it's continue and coming from Israel, it's all about innovation. And we saw we were already acquired by private equity. The R&D in the beginning became to, new people coming, try to distribute and to put the focus in other places. It took about 1-2 years, and all the R&D came back to Israel. All the molds are designed in Israel. The center of Keter is the human capital and the innovation, and we are welcome to any new ideas in our area and other areas. That's it. Thank you.
Zvika.
Yes, I also want to join the other people that we welcome entrepreneurs, and I want to say that we have several programs, so you don't need to come with your own idea. You have to come with your own passion, and we have a lot of connection to the industry as we understand, so entrepreneurs and build their own. We take some of the ideas and work together. We have programs for this by itself, and then to join up and combine teams to a real startup. So everyone that have an idea in this direction, we are welcome you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tzvika. Sivan.
Well, I think that the main point is that Industry 4.0 is the next big thing. It really is. It's here. It's happening. It's huge. It's going to affect all our lives and the way we do business and the way we buy things and the quality of things that we buy, and hopefully reduce the cost of things we buy and preserve the environment and do all the good things. I think this is a great thing that's happening. We are, as I said, joining all my friends. We welcome new initiatives. I want to thank everyone that's been here with us, listening to us, for taking the time. And Bonnie, to you.
Thank you very much, Sivan. Again, thank you for all of you for participating in this panel. And please remember, everyone, Israel is a small country. Carmel is less than 2 hours away from Tel Aviv. And it's going to be, I mean, it's already a great center for Industry 4.0. There are great people, great companies, and great ecosystem. And we would like to invite all of you to join it. I think that we're going to do great things together. So thank you, everyone. And if you have any questions to any of us, please don't hesitate to contact us directly. And enjoy the rest of this great event. Thank you.